Welcome back, Wayfarer. Before we begin our journey tonight, take a moment to truly settle into the space you are in. Adjust your pillows. Feel the weight of your blankets and let the tension leave your shoulders. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. You are safe. You are held, and you are exactly where you need to be. Tonight, our path takes us away from the high flint ridges of the chalk downs and down toward the valley floor, where the air is softer and the world feels a little more intimate. We are heading toward the water, to a place where the rhythm of the earth is dictated by the flow of the river. Together, we will find a very deep kind of peace. The air changes as you descend the hill, becoming cooler and more fragrant, heavy with the scent of damp earth and crushed water mint. You are walking along the bank of a rare chalk stream, a silver ribbon of water that has been filtered through the ancient lime and flint of the hills for 1,000 years. It is a living thing, so clear and pure that the riverbed shines like a collection of polished coins under the surface. Watch how the river Crowfoot trails in the current, its long emerald tresses waving rhythmically in the steady pulse of the water. This is the Bourne, a stream that emerges from the deep aquifers of the downs, and it moves with an unhurried, ancient confidence. Take a moment to look at the water's edge, where the moss is thick and vibrant, drinking from the moisture in the air. You can hear the water flowing over the stones, a soft, bubbling language that speaks of the long journey from the high springs to the sea. The path beneath your feet is cushioned by centuries of fallen leaves and soft silt, making every step feel light and effortless. As you walk, the twilight begins to settle over the valley, turning the water into a mirror for the darkening sky. The reflections of leaning willows dance on the surface, their silver-leafed branches dipping low to touch their own images. There is no rush here. The river does not hurry, and neither do you. You are matching your heartbeat to the flow of the stream, letting the shh of the water act as a curtain, closing off the noise and the busyness of the world you've left behind. Here, in the valley floor, the world feels smaller, quieter, and infinitely more protective. You watch a single leaf drift past, caught in the gentle swirl of an eddy, and you realize that you, too, are simply being carried along by the peaceful rhythm of this evening. In a gentle bend of the river, tucked away where the reeds grow tall and the willow's shadows are deepest, sits a small timber hut. This is a drover's hut, a humble sanctuary built on heavy cast iron wheels. It was designed to move with the seasons and the flocks, a nomad's home that has finally found a permanent resting place, here by the silver water. Its wooden siding is silvered by age, worn by decades of wind and river mist, until the grain of the oak stands out like the lines on an old man's hand. You approach the door, your boots making a soft, hollow sound on the wooden steps. You reach out and touch the iron thumb latch. It feels solid and cold, coated in a fine dew that has settled since the sun went down. There is a familiar, heavy clack thud as the latch lifts, a mechanical, honest sound that has welcomed weary travellers for generations. As the door swings open on its heavy hinges, the bright, splashing song of the river is instantly softened, as if a heavy velvet curtain has been drawn between you and the outside world. You step over the threshold, and the air inside is different. It is still, dry, and thick with the scent of history. The door clicks shut behind you, and you are immediately struck by the silence. It is not an empty silence, but a dense, protective hush created by the timber walls. Here, the world is reduced to a single small room. The scent of seasoned oak is layered with a faint, lingering sweetness of lanolin from the wool once stored here, and the earthy aroma of dried sweetgrass. The interior of the hut feels like a wooden cocoon. The ceiling is low and the walls are lined with simple hand-planed boards that have been polished by the touch of hands and the passage of time. Outside you can still feel the presence of the river, but it has changed. It is no longer a bright, splashing sound. It has become a deep, rhythmic thrum that vibrates through the floorboards. A low-frequency lullaby that reminds you of the bothy interior you once knew. You are safe. You are enclosed. You are finally home for the night. Now that you are inside, you take a slow, deep breath, letting the scent of dry wood and old wool ground you. You find a sturdy wooden stool carved from a single block of beechwood, and you sit for a moment to unlace your boots. The leather is cool to the touch, and as you pull them off, the sensation of your feet meeting the floorboards is one of pure relief. These are not modern boards. They are wide planks of English oak, secured with hand-forged iron nails that have been worn flush with the wood over a century of use. You can feel the grain of the history here, the slight ridges and smooth hollows where the wood has been polished by the feet of shepherds and travellers who came before you. You move to the corner of the hut, where a small iron stove sits on a hearth of local sandstone. It isn't lit tonight. The evening is mild enough, but it gives off a faint, comforting smell of cold ash and soot, a reminder of winter nights and the crackle of birch logs. You reach out to touch the stone hearth, feeling its rough, grainy texture against your palm. It feels solid and unmoving, a piece of the earth brought inside to keep the river's dampness at bay. You begin to move with a slow, deliberate rhythm, hanging your coat on a solid peg and smoothing out the wrinkles in your clothes. Every sound in the hut is magnified by the stillness. The rustle of your sleeve, the faint creak of the floorboards, and the distant, muffled pulse of the water outside. It is as if the hut itself is a musical instrument, and your movements are the quiet notes. You notice a small shelf where a tattered book and a candle stub sit, small tokens of those who rested here before. There is a profound sense of continuity in this space. You are part of a long line of wayfarers who found their way to this bend in the river, seeking nothing more than a dry roof and the drover's hut silence that only wood and stone can provide. You feel the weight of the day falling away, replaced by the simple, tactile reality of this small, wooden world. You settle yourself into the wooden settle by the single small window. The glass is crown glass, made in a spinning furnace centuries ago. It is thick and full of tiny frozen bubbles and waves that distort the world outside just enough to make it feel like a dream. Through the pane, the river looks like moving mercury in the moonlight. You watch as a thick white mist begins to rise from the surface of the water, the breath of the chalk stream, curling around the trunks of the willows in ephemeral wisps. From here, the river doesn't just sound like water. It sounds like a song with 1,000 different voices. If you listen closely, you can hear the deep, guttural thrum of the main current as it pushes through the center of the channel. Overlapping that is the lighter, more playful, clucking sound of the water hitting the wooden pilings of an old fishing weir nearby. And above it all is the soft, constant hiss of the stream flowing through the reeds, a sound so consistent and soothing that it begins to syncopate with your own breathing. You find yourself staring at the way the light catches the ripples. Even in the dimming glow of the evening, the water is alive with movement, yet it brings a total stillness to your mind. This is the paradoxical magic of the river. It is never the same water twice, yet it never seems to change. It is a constant flowing presence that carries away any lingering thoughts of the climb, the ridges, or the worries of the world beyond this valley. As you sit there, the wood of the settle feels warm beneath you, having absorbed the heat of the day. You lean your head back against the timber wall and close your eyes for just a moment. Even with your eyes shut, the river remains. You can feel its vibration in the floor, a physical sensation of being anchored in a moving world. You are the fixed point. The river flows on, but you are still. You are quiet. You are listening to the heartbeat of the valley, and it is telling you that it is finally time to let go. The light has all but faded now, leaving the hut in a soft blue-grey wash of twilight. It is time to prepare your resting place. In the corner of the hut, built into the timber frame itself, is a raised bed box. You run your hand over the edge of the wood. It is solid elm, cool and substantial. Inside, the bed is filled with a thick layer of fresh dry rushes and sweet straw. As you press your hand into it, the straw gives way with a crisp musical crunch. The sound of summer fields preserved in the dry dark of the hut. There is a deep, earthy scent that rises from the rushes, a mixture of dried grass and the faint, clean smell of river silt. You pull a heavy wool blanket from the foot of the bed. It is a piece of true heritage, woven in the mills of the north from thick local fleece. It has a weight to it, a reassuring density that promises to hold the warmth of your body through the cooling night. You spread it over the rushes, smoothing the rough, honest texture of the wool with your palms. Every movement you make is slow, deliberate and quiet. You are shed of your heavy layers now, feeling the air of the hut against your skin. A stillness that feels like a physical embrace. You climb into the bedbox, and the rushes settle beneath you, shifting and sighing as they contour to your shape. It is a nest, tucked away in the corner of this wooden cocoon. From this lower vantage point, the sounds of the hut change once more. You are closer to the floorboards now, and the rhythmic pulse of the chalk stream feels more intimate, as if the river is flowing directly beneath your pillow. The thrum of the water is a steady, low-frequency heartbeat that grounds you to this spot on the bank. You pull the heavy wool blanket up to your chin, feeling its comforting warmth. You are perfectly supported, perfectly insulated. The world outside the timber walls has ceased to exist. There is only the scent of dry straw, the weight of the wool, and the infinite patient journey of the water moving past your door. Now, there is nothing left to do but be. Your eyes are heavy, the lids flickering as they catch the last faint glimmer of moonlight reflecting off the ceiling boards. The river's song has become a part of your own rhythm now. With every slow breath you take in, you imagine the cool, clear water flowing over the flint beds outside. With every breath you let out, you release the last remaining tension in your body. The muscles in your feet, your legs, your back, all softening into the bed of rushes. The sounds of the night are distant and muffled. Perhaps a barn owl calls from the willow stand, a thin, ghostly sound that is instantly swallowed by the hush of the reeds. Perhaps a fish leaps in the pool outside, a tiny silver splash that ripples briefly before the current smooths it over once more. These sounds only serve to deepen the silence within the hut. You are drifting now, suspended in that quiet space between the wooden walls and the moving water. Your thoughts are like leaves on the surface of the chalk stream, unhurried, floating, moving slowly downstream until they vanish around the bend. You no longer need to hold on to them. The river will carry them away. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for this small timber sanctuary, for the dry wood, the heavy wool, and the ancient water that guides your sleep. The darkness in the hut is complete now. A soft, velvety blackness that feels as thick as the oak walls themselves. The rhythm of the water becomes slower, deeper, a subterranean rumble that lulls your mind into a state of total peace. You are the river, and you are the stone. You are the timber, and you are the silence. The wayfarer has found their rest. The journey is over for today, and the valley has taken you into its care. Sleep now. Let the water carry you into the deep, dark, quiet of the night.